Hello, RGL 3300 students. It's Dr. Conway here, just checking in with you. I wanted to talk a little bit more about your topics for post-market surveillance, your research topics. I want you to realize that this paper for you now is sort of one of the penultimate pieces you'll make in your program before you graduate. So it's really important that you take it very seriously and write a solid document. And as I said before, it's important that you choose a topic. I know some of you we did the roundtable last class on the Tuesday, but I want to make sure you select a topic in an area that you see yourself doing work in the future and that helps you build your CV. I want you to realize that some of your topics were quite good, they were focused, but make sure that you research your topic that you gave me in class, or if you haven't given me one yet, one you will be giving me soon, on what your paper is going to be. I want you to research it a little further. Make sure it's a topic that has some weight to it. I mean, but at the same time is focused and allows you to develop a really strong thesis statement about your topic. So if you're doing a topic on, say, medical devices and you think there's weaknesses in the post-market surveillance regime, you have to be very specific about what you think those weaknesses are. So before you even start researching a great deal and start to think about writing, make sure that you have a really sharp topic, something that you can write to that's very specific and will allow you to develop a really strong analytical paper. Because once you do that, if you leave the program having developed a couple of really strong papers in RGL 3000 and RGL 3300, it will get you off to a good start when you have to write in the workplace, when you get jobs. Okay. So make sure you formulate your research question very, very clearly, and that it's not too broad that gets you into trouble for when you try to write it up, but it's broad enough that you can make a solid argument. Okay. And then when you have your topic sorted out, you have to have a very clear thesis statement of what that topic is going to be about. In other words, if your topic is weaknesses in post-market surveillance for certain classes of medical devices, then what specifically is your thesis statement? You should be able to say that in one sentence. And a very clear argument. A thesis statement in this case, because I'm asking you to do an analytical paper that identifies weaknesses and proposes improvements or strengths in the system, your thesis statement has to be very specific. There is a problem with post-market surveillance in this area, and that problem is boom. And now this paper is going to go about validating the statement or the thesis statement I just made. Okay. Then you have to do further research. Don't just rely on the research material that helped you identify your topic, but search for other sources. Evaluate the quality of those sources. Make sure you're dealing with quality material. Don't just cite newspaper articles or opinion pieces in magazines and things, but solid research efforts that you're referring to make your argument that you set out in your thesis statement. And you have to understand the quality of the sources that you're using. Okay. And identify any gaps in the research, and then go in your research to a certain point and then go about filling those gaps. Don't just sort of fluff over gaps in the research. Try to find research that substantiates the argument that you're trying to make. Okay. Remember that your thesis statement needs to be very clearly stated in the introductory section to your paper. An introduction should not be a long, unwieldy a section. It should be a very short, punchy introduction into the topic of your paper. Why are you here? Why are you writing about this? And what is the argument you're going to make in a concise, tight thesis statement? Okay, and it's very important you develop that. You think about that quite a lot. Then you begin to organize and develop your ideas through your research and construct a detailed outline. Okay, don't start writing until you've constructed a detailed outline, because the various bulleted or line items that you will provide in your outline can be cut and paste, reorganized, restructured into sections such that you really have a good flow to your paper. Okay, and also do not underuse headings and subheadings. Subheadings and headings are are the way that you guide your reader through the paper. It's like a road map. When you're on a trip to a place you've never been, the outlines are the headings are like a map, like your GPS system, okay, for a reader, all right, to go through your paper. So first off, you complete a rough draft of your paper and you revise it, but only start the rough draft after you've done a comprehensive outline and you understand exactly what you're going to write. Then you prepare a rough draft. Then you revise to improve the content of your paper. Make sure it flows. Make sure that paragraphs flow from one to another. Make sure you're not writing in long paragraphs. You're writing in short, punchy paragraphs, one topic per paragraph, okay? Even if the paragraph is short, if you've addressed the topic, then move on to the next paragraph. If you've got more than one topic in some of your paragraphs, then subdivide those and create them into much easier to read paragraphs. Do not make your reader go fishing through an analytical paper to find the main points that you want to cover. I mean, the whole point of an analytical paper is it should hit the reader right between the eyes that this argument that you're making is well established, well defended by research, and portrayed in a way that they can easily grasp, including with proper headings, subheadings, short punchy paragraphs, short, matter-of-fact, direct sentences, okay? No flowery writing, just boom, say it. It's factual. Boom, put it on there. And have it say it really very directly, okay? And don't forget to use proper citations for your paper, okay? Your references are very important. You can use the APA style, MLA style, Chicago style, whatever you prefer. But remember to have your references well documented, your arguments well documented, because you're entering into an area where, regulation is quasi-legal. And it can also be very specific with respect to the science of medicine or the science of regulation of chemicals or hazardous products. So your writing has to be exact. Your evidence has to be exact. It has to be factual. It has to be supported by research and by documenting that research in the form of citations, okay? Then compile your references in the back and your reference section in the back of your paper, okay? To make sure the formatting of all the references is the right way. It should be done based on the style that you're using, all right? Now, I'm really stressing this because I want you all to realize that this is one of the penultimate pieces that you're doing when you're graduating from the program. So take pride in it. Write it as if it's going to be something you could send to a prospective employer as an example of the type of research you've done, okay? So take the time, make it a good paper. That's why I wanted to have the midterm earlier, so that you could develop this paper more fully. So take it seriously. Work on it right away. Don't wait to get started. Start developing your research and take a great deal of pride in trying to write the best paper you've ever written, okay? And that the reason for that is that when you graduate from this program, that's going to be one of the assets. Along with your CV, that will be one of the assets as you try to land a job, okay, and try to get work and move forward in your careers. It doesn't matter if you're doing a second program, okay? The point is that have something in the bank that you can refer people to if they ask for a piece of your writing or they ask for examples of your experience. You can speak to a topic with a great deal of sophistication, all right? So really give it a good try on this post-market surveillance. Now, in RGL 3000, you have the template already, which is the RIAS Writer's Guide. But again, take it very, very seriously. I recognize when we do the cost-benefit analysis portion of this, we're going to be dealing with fudgy numbers, but that's not important. If anybody ever wants to see what you did, for example, RIAS, you can tell them. The professor said, don't worry too much about the numbers. We just want to see you go through the logic of the process of writing a RIAS, what's involved, what each of the sections in a RIAS needs to cover, how to make strong justifications of one policy instrument over another, how to make strong justifications of the objective of a regulation, and so on. And that's the kind of thing that any prospective employer on the regulation side is going to want to see. They're going to want to know you can grasp these things. And going back all the way to the first term, remember, concepts, concepts, concepts. when you go for interviews or when you're writing up any of these documents, any of these research papers, the concepts have to be clearly stated and they have to be right. They have to be correct use of the concepts. So you have to practice that in the writing of your papers as well, okay? But I'm beginning to get the feeling now that we're starting to wrap up your program, all right? You're going to be finished the program at the end of the summer. It's not very far away, all right? So now's the time to really ramp it up and try to do a couple of really, really solid papers, all right? And take a lot of pride in those because they're going to become part of the assets you take out of the program to land yourself a career path in this area if in the end that's exactly what you decide to do, okay? Remember, keep building your CV, focus on areas that are areas which you might want to work in. If you want to work in medical devices, do it. If you want to work in another area, do it. But the point is, be consistent, build credentials in the area, show that you can do solid research in the area, that you can develop concept, you can apply concepts in the area, you can develop solid arguments in the area, you can defend those arguments, all right? And it's really important now that we really knuckle down, push hard over the next 6 weeks, do a really good job on the papers, and graduate with a lot of pride and enthusiasm for the potential that you have, okay? I wanted to get that out to you because it's been something that's been on my mind and I want to really see you knuckle down and do a good job. And of course, as always, when you get jobs, I want to know about it and I want to feel confident that you're ready to work in the field, all right? So we'll talk to you again next week. Take care now. Bye-bye.